Folks, welcome to yet another episode from the TGV Global Speaker Series. And our guest for today is Rebecca Hansen, and she's from Denmark but lives in Rwanda. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, Belief Revolution, unleashing entrepreneurial power through personal development mastery, here's an exciting twist. Let us tickle the brain of our guest first. So, Rebecca, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's get started.
Okay. Ready.
All right, here comes the first word, curiosity.
That is a difficult one. I think my coach, actually, Mark Golden, because he talks about being curious about everything, obsess about being curious. So yeah, he's the first one that comes to mind.
Next one is invention.
Steve Jobs.
Future.
Oh, that's a good one. Flying cars for some reason.
That would soon be a reality, and I think everybody is looking forward to it.
Yes.
Okay, next one is book.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Mm-hmm. Movie.
Pulp Fiction.
Food.
Chicken biryani for some reason, and I'm vegan, so I'm not sure why that comes up.
Okay, creativity.
I'm thinking just visual arts, paintings is what just comes to mind. I love physical, like visual arts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Leadership.
I just think like self-leadership and importance. Those are like the two words that come up for me.
Next is universe.
God.
The last one is success.
Success, I think about myself.
Good one. I loved your responses and thank you for participating in the first rapid fire round so sportively. We have one more waiting towards the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And folks, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through transformative conversations and through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life, but also to your career. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Rebecca, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice, and super thrilled to have you join as a guest today. And I can't wait any longer to get into the conversation. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. This week is my birthday weekend. So I have been celebrating myself and really enjoying. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So belated birthday wishes. And I hope you had fun and continue to do so. And on that note, I would like to thank Christine for connecting both of us and making this conversation happen. So, Christine, if you have tuned into this episode, thank you so much for connecting with such a wonderful lady, Rebecca. And Rebecca, without further ado, let's get started with your success mantra. So, please share the top 3 things that have attributed or contributed to your success so far.
So, for me, everything is very much about how do I experience and think about things. And one of the big changes that happened to me is when I realized that between me and all the things that I want to achieve in life, the only thing that's standing in between that is myself and how I view myself. So changing how I see myself and managing my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs and my emotions has been a huge game changer for me. On top of that, the second one is changing my self-perception. So thinking about how do I view myself? How do I think about myself? How do I show up? How do I place myself in a group of people? How do I see myself in comparison to them? Do I feel like I'm less than them? Do I feel like I'm more than them? Do I target some sort of peerness no matter where I am? And the last one is managing my words. So thinking about how do I talk about myself? How do I talk about other people? What choice of words do I have? So yeah, those are the 3 major things that really changed my life.
Awesome. So it's all about change. Change is the only constant. And if we can make that happen before it has to happen, I think success will be ours. Right. So on that note,
Yes.
Let's move forward and talk about the core of today's conversation. Let's begin. So how do you help entrepreneurs identify and overcome limiting beliefs that might be holding them back from achieving their full potential. And limiting beliefs is something which is a topic of my interest as well. And the moment you propose this, I was so happy, I was so elated, because even I'm curious to understand that, because I tried overcoming those limiting beliefs as discussed during our pre-call. So explain that to our audience.
So limiting beliefs is pretty much what are the stories that we tell ourselves that keep us from doing the things that we should do to achieve the results that we want, right? So they're often either fed by, they're fed by our society, our parents, our school teachers, our just community telling us, oh, you should be realistic and you should do these things and you should think about stuff like that. And no, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur, you should be a doctor. And then it kind of also turns into this, well, who do you really think you are? Why do you think you deserve, success over everybody else? So it's these thoughts that end up popping up in our heads without us even really thinking about it. And sometimes it doesn't even come as words. So just imagine for a second, if I said, go build a business that makes $100 million. Most people would be immediately just think, I can't do that. I can't do that. How would I do that? I don't even know how to do that. Or it would come like, maybe in your thoughts, you would be like, that could be really interesting, but there's something in your body, in your stomach that says, nope, this is not who I am. I don't know how to do that. And that reaction, either in your body or in your head, it stops you from taking the next step towards the thing that you want to achieve. So this could also be, asking that girl on a date, or it could be, go to the gym. What kind of thoughts are coming in that's preventing you? I don't want to go to the gym because I don't know how to use the machines and I don't feel comfortable around all of these fitness geeks, I would show up and I wouldn't know what to do and I would feel humiliated. Those are limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough to ask that girl or that guy on a date. Those are limiting beliefs. I can't go for that partnership because that partner in business is way bigger, more experienced than me. So why would they be interested in working with me? That's a limiting belief. So everything that stops you in your tracks towards going for bigger goals or going for the things that you want to achieve, those are limiting beliefs.
Wow. Very well explained. I loved all the examples. Now let's talk about the success story, because you have been coaching people overcome those limiting beliefs. So share with us a success story of an entrepreneur who transformed their beliefs and achieved remarkable results in their business after working with you.
Yeah. So first thing that you got to do with the limiting beliefs is identify that they're there, because we very often don't realize that they're there and we don't realize the power they have over us. We just take it for granted that they're true. So we don't even question them. So the first thing you got to do is question these limiting beliefs. You need to acknowledge that they're there. Try to figure out, where do they come from? Mm-hmm. Is it even objectively true that I can't go ask that person on a date or propose that partnership? So once you start digging into that, and there's a lot of work on figuring out what are these reaction limiting beliefs that come up, then working on them, figuring out where do they come from, do they even make sense, or are you just telling yourself lies so that you can stay in your comfort zone? And then you start challenging them, just doing things scared. So if you're worried about being judged, you're worried about rejection, these are things that you have to deal with in entrepreneurship. There's always going to be people who say no. There's always going to be people who don't really trust in you or believe that you can help them. And you need to face that fear and just, do it anyway. Do it scared. So doing things scared, and then replacing those beliefs with empowering beliefs instead. Mm-hmm. So what if you always assume that there's a positive outcome? What if you always assume that it's going to go well? And if it doesn't go well, you're okay with it because, then maybe the next time it will go well, right? So you start empowering yourself. And the last person that I worked with, she went from, just imagining only that she could make the money that she needed to just to get by. I just got to make those 5K. I just got to make those, and also there's also a limiting belief that says all growth has to be linear. I can't just go from 10 to 30K, for example, right? In my business. I can't just, it has to happen slowly. That's a limiting belief. Keep you in your comfort zone. Instead, do things scared. Go out there, take bigger goals, go for bigger partners, create more expensive offers. Yeah, and she started making significantly more money in her business, and she started getting a lot more opportunities also to be on panels, speak on stages, being invited to things, simply because of how she showed up. Because also when you set bigger goals for yourself and you start targeting those bigger goals and you start working and you see those bigger goals materialize, you suddenly show up in a completely different way. So you step into your CEO self, you step into that, the boss mode, the superhero, and people are, become way more magnetic. You attract more people, especially on the level that you want to be attracting people. So doing that work on yourself and realizing that you can either be your own greatest hero or your own biggest enemy. And it's up to you to decide which one are you going to go for.
Wow. I think this is eye-opening. So let's take a step back, Rebecca, and talk about some aspects in terms of, I would like to understand some common patterns or stories that entrepreneurs often carry with them that hinder their growth, and how can they begin to change these narratives?
Yes, most commonly is it has to be hard and I need to sacrifice myself to deserve good things. So you would see many entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning of entrepreneurship, who feel like they need to work 70 hours per week, 80 hours per week. They gotta, work all weekends. They have to sacrifice all the good things. They don't have time anymore to go out and spend, time with their family and friends. They have to cancel birthday parties. They have to, because, there's the whole hustle and grind mentality that comes in. And it basically comes from a place that says, in order to deserve good things, you need to sacrifice. But that is a limiting belief. It's not true. If you focused all of your attention on the 20% that creates the most results, you could cut down the time that you spend by like 80% and still get most of the results, right? And if you focus your energy on the things that actually make sense, if you start delegating even before you feel you're ready, start hiring people into your team, start getting other people to do the work that you don't want to do, that is not aligned with your genius, then before you know it, you can have a perfectly balanced life and have amazing results in your business because you didn't fall under the false belief that it has to be hard, it has to be difficult, you have to sacrifice. So that one is a huge one. Also, the point about people really want to, it's a feeling that in order to feel like you deserve something good, you have to have paid with it through sacrifice, right? Yeah. Very few people believe that they are just in a natural state of accepting and receiving good things. We need to be and do and fight and force in order to be deserving. But as I see it, just by us being us and serving on our highest level and creating value for other people, that in itself is enough for us to deserve amazing things.
Super. Fabulous conversation, and I'm loving every bit of it. And let's now focus on the stress and anxiety part and also uncertainty. So entrepreneurs often face high levels of stress and uncertainty. And how does reprogramming their beliefs and stories help them navigate these challenges more effectively?
So stress, in my view, comes mostly from expecting negative outcomes. It comes from expecting that things aren't going to go the way that we want them to go. And it is in combination of wanting to control everything. As soon as we realize we can't control anything, really, we can influence, but there's very few things that we can control because anything can end up at the exact opposite of what we wanted to at any point of time. So letting go of the need for control and instead focusing on what can I influence and what can I do in order to kind of tip the scale in my favor, and just accepting that things happen when they happen and not try too hard to anticipate all the bad things and all the things that can go wrong, because then we're going to stress about it. So instead, just working towards, okay, what makes sense to work on right now? And breaking your stuff into smaller bites, right? If you have an elephant, how do you eat it? You eat it one bite at a time, right? So take whatever it is that you want to achieve and chop it up into smaller pieces, and then just focus that one at a time. And then just recognize, I'm not going to be able to do everything now. Let me just focus on what makes sense to do and then get that done. And once that's done, does it still even make sense to do all the other things? Because life changes, business changes, new opportunities come in. And if we're so insisting on eating the elephant, we might not see the lion that comes by. Hey, let's go pivot this way and just leave room for being able to make changes along the way. But if you're so stuck in your need to control the outcome, you won't even see opportunities. I think this uncertainty that entrepreneurs face is only scary if you feel a need to control it because you can't.
So we may have to focus on things that we can control, but not on things that are out of our control. That would be the key takeaway.
Yes.
Okay, let's move forward. And now please share with us some practical tips or exercises that entrepreneurs can start implementing today to start changing their limiting beliefs and stories for the better.
Yeah, so one of the first thing I ask people to do is just to question everything. Every time you have a thought, every time you have a feeling, every time you have an assumption, question whether or not that is justified, if it makes sense, especially because we have a tendency to analyze everything that happens and we make assumptions based on this analysis. But the problem is that we can only analyze from what we have, and what we have is very subjective. So how we view the world is subjective, how we analyze other people's behaviors is subjective, how we anticipate what is going to happen is subjective, but we treat it as if it's the objective truth. I don't know if you've ever had an experience where someone did something and you had already an understanding of why did they do that, and you blamed them for doing it because you thought that you knew the intention behind it. And then it ended up being like, oh, they did it for something completely other, and I should have never been mad at them in the first place. But it's so rare that we're actually confronted by this, where when we realize that we saw it the wrong way. But the thing is, it happens all the time. We constantly analyze things as being subjective instead of objective. So every time you question something, every time you have a feeling, if you feel something is wrong, why do you feel that's wrong? What is happening? Is that a fear that's talking? Because if it's fear talking, probably you need to do it anyway. Is it your gut talking? Why is your gut talking to you? Why are you feeling some sort of way? And very often when it's our gut talking, we have a tendency to do it anyway. And actually, it should be the other way around, right? We should go where we're scared, but we shouldn't go where our gut tells us not to go. So just really paying a lot of attention and bringing awareness to everything that you're feeling, everything that you're thinking, and then try to see, like, why am I having these experiences? What is it based on? What kind of childhood experience or trauma has made me analyze this situation the way that it is right now? So just, questioning a lot is one of the first things I would tell people to do.
Super. What an incredible conversation so far, and it's time for us to add some more excitement to the episode, and I'll bring up the second rapid fire round of intriguing questions.
Nice.
Just to spice up the episode further. If you're ready, let's do it.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
I think it would say, do it scared. And I would do it at whatever large entrepreneurial conference or convention is taking place.
Nice. Here comes the next one. If you could meet one historical figure for a 10-minute conversation, who would it be and what would you ask them?
I think I would want to meet Cleopatra. And I would really love to know what it's like to be like a woman leader in that period of time.
Wow. All right. So, Rebecca, can you describe yourself in just one word?
Excited.
What is one unusual or daring thing on your bucket list?
That's a good one because I don't actually really keep bucket lists. But I think if I should do something that is like out of this world, it would probably be something like, influence 1 million people.
Wow.
Or reach 1 million people with a specific message, something like that. Yeah, I think that would be worth putting on my list.
Nice, and I wish you good luck. I'm sure it is going to happen. Okay, here comes the next one. If you could swap lives with a fictional character for a day, who would it be and what would you do in their shoes?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is Superman, because I've always had my favorite dreams are the dreams where I can fly. So I would just be flying around.
Good. Okay, here comes the last bullet. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
Can it be an app? Okay, I want an app where I can hum the tune of a song that I've forgotten, and it's going to find out what song it is.
Oh, wow. I think it is going to be a reality very soon with the advancement
It
of
has to
generative
be.
AI. Yeah.
It has to be. I try to do it with my Shazam sometimes, but it doesn't work.
Accuracy, I think accuracy part plays a critical role, but I don't think it is too long away. I
No,
don't think
I
it is
hope
too long away. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, wonderful rapid fire with that. Let's flip back to the mainstream. So, what will be your key message to our audience, and also how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so I would still say, please just acknowledge that the biggest dreams that you have are within your reach if you're willing to become the person that can achieve those things. And that is about willingness more than anything. Because a lot of people are going to think, oh, if only I were like this person, I would achieve all of these great things. But you can become just like that person, because what
Yeah.
that person is based on their beliefs, their thoughts, their emotions, and how they view themselves and their surroundings. And all of this we can change. We have the full power to become the person who can achieve amazing things. There is no reason why, like, okay, so there are very few examples that are like outside of your reach, right? So I knew this guy, he wanted to become an electrician, and he went to school, and he was at his like graduation exam, and they find out he's colorblind, so he can't tell the difference between the red and the green wire.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, you can't become an electrician if you're colorblind. You know,
Yeah.
nobody had told him at this point. So there are a few things that you're just like genetically unable to do, right? But these are very, very limited. Everything else, if you really want it, you can become that person that can do that thing. So I really want people to understand that, because we make so many assumptions around who we are and what we can achieve, but these are all stories that we made up. We've made up every single story about what we can and cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you there are things in your life that you thought you can do that you ended up doing, and you're like, oh, it was much easier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Or things that were too scary and you were afraid of doing it, and when you did it, you're like, oh, it wasn't so scary at all. It all comes down to the stories that we tell ourselves. And I would really love everybody to really just believe and trust that, and then start doing the work to become the person that you got to be. Yeah. I would say, oh, and how they can reach me. They can either go to my website, Rebecca-Hansen.com, or to my Instagram. I am Rebecca Hansen. That's a double C and then Hansen, and just reach out. Sure. Ask me anything.
So for those of you who have tuned into the episode, you'll find both the links in the show notes or the episode description. So feel free to connect with Rebecca. And Rebecca, I loved the examples and all the analogies as well. So this has been one of the greatest conversations on the show, and I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me today. And before I let you go, how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice platform?
This is fun. You're a great host, and you are the fastest person I've ever met. Which is a skill. You can turn a course. You can turn that into a course. I'm sure you can like become a faster person. Yes, you can train corporates on how to improve efficiency and productivity. It's so incredible. But yes, you're a wonderful host. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thanks for the idea. In fact, I've launched a course called Productivity Monk. Being a productivity monk on Udemy, it's already there. I'm yet to market that course, so I think I need to start spending some time and focus on that. And anyways, thank you for the suggestion, and also thank you for joining me today and spending your valuable time by sharing your insights. And I really appreciate it. And I think we need to have many more conversations in the future. So see you in the next episodes for sure.
That would be wonderful. I'd be happy to come back.
Yeah. So, Rebecca, thank you once again, and I really appreciate you taking time for joining me today. And friends, that was our episode with Rebecca Hansen. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you haven't already subscribed to The Guiding Voice, please subscribe to our podcast from wherever you have tuned in, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And also, if you have enjoyed this conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like the guiding voice. So spread the knowledge and also help others grow just like you. Now let's cruise into the trivia segment of today's episode. So this is part of the TGV Global Speaker Series, and our guest for today is originally from Denmark but lives in Rwanda. I thought I would present you a few facts about Denmark. So Denmark has the world's oldest monarchy, and Denmark's monarchy dates back over 1,000 years, and it is considered the oldest continuous monarchy in the world. Second fact is about Lego. Lego was invented in Denmark, and the beloved toy brand Lego was created by Danish carpenter Ole Kirk Christiansen in 1932. And the name Lego is derived from the Danish words leg godt, which means play well. And third one is about Denmark consistently ranks high in happiness. It frequently tops the global happiness rankings, and this is often attributed to the Danish concept of hygge, which promotes well-being, coziness, and also a balanced lifestyle. And if you recall, Rebecca said she's excited when I asked you how would you describe in just one word, right? So that speaks volumes about it. And that's it from my side, from the trivia perspective. And if you are aware of any other interesting fact related to Denmark, please feel free to comment. If you are watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or else if you have found this episode on social media platform, you can comment there. I'm going to review them for sure. And folks, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and also for being part of our awesome TGV community. And we would love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback, topic recommendations, or guest speaker suggestions, either through social media, or you can also email me at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. So let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life, but also your career. Until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest.